Welcome to another episode of Pels in the Blender. It's your boy A Davis. I'm doing a little impromptu video real quick. Was supposed to do one, was supposed to do something with my boy Chris Connor, but that didn't work out today. We had some technical difficulties, so we got that coming still. But man, I was just sitting down, bro, and thinking about how frustrating it is sometimes to be a Pels fan. Like it's gotta be in not even just being a Pels fan. Like if you're a Pels fan, a Saints fan, um, New Orleans sports fan in general, and it's been a long time of just like a lot of uncertainty, a lot of questions. You just worrying about everything. You worried about the organization. You worried about ownership. You worried about parking. You worried about prices. Like, can we get a good jersey? Why the Saints get a bunch of different jerseys? Like, can we fire people that need to be fired? Like, man, it's just so much that goes on in like being a being a Saints fan, a Pels fan, just a fan of either organization. So this is kind of like a little vent session somewhat. Like like I just wonder, man, why we can't get it together. Like realistically, why we can't get it together? Like, is it, we understand that there's like money involved, you know what I mean, with making certain decisions regarding like players and who stays, who goes, and is a lot of politics that goes into sports and business and life in general, to be honest. But man, it's just the Pelicans specifically, like, see, the Saints, I think, got lucky and were able to have fallen into the blessing of Sean Payton and Drew Brees. The Saints did that right, and they were so good for so long that everybody just kind of walking around there feeling themselves off the greatness of those two guys. Now, granted, they had some other great players come through, but those two dudes were the foundational pieces that set everything in motion, right? And man, why can't we have that with the Pels? And like, I'm unsure if we're ever gonna be not ever, because if if the Saints did it, that doesn't mean that the Pelicans can't do it. But I just was I was thinking back and thinking about how those Saints organizations kind of ran. There were times when like when they knew that they were good, and again, football in the South is king, but man, it's times where like you knew they were, and even you know what, I take it back. I take it back. I was just about to credit the Saints, but I take that back too. Because when they knew they had something in Drew Brees after they made those NFC championship games, they let Drew go, 3 or 4 seasons with zero defense out there in like the prime of his career. He throwing for 5,000 yards and breaking all these records and stuff like that for the offense, but they couldn't stop a nosebleed. And why weren't they doing everything they could to get this man defensive help then? That was a crime in itself. You know what I mean? Like not doing everything you can, every moment you can to maximize and be the best. Is that like the sin of money? Is that the sin of business? Like what's the thing with the Pelicans? Obviously, we've been a team that never paid a tax. And the benefit, not the benefit, but like a lot of stuff that happens with that is like a lot of people say, well, the team has never been in position to pay the tax. Okay. At the same time, you could easily put yourself in position to, to pay the tax or to go all in, whatever your version of all in is. Like the one thing about some organizations, like the Suns recently have been terrible. And I don't even want to say terrible, but they've been bad. Like the Kevin Durant Bradley Beal experiment didn't work and they failed. But like they went all in. You know what I mean? And like sometimes you can dig yourself out of it. And maybe when you don't have the resources that other teams have, you can't afford to take those kinds of risks. And to a degree, I understand that. But man, as a fan, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough sledding. It's tough watching. It's tough to root for. It's tough to pay for because you know, like, what are you excited about? What are you excited about? Like, you have to think. You have to start beginning to think like extremely rationally all the time. Like, example, we just let Antonio Reeves go. It's like, man, that was a good young piece. That did you have to make that move? And then it's not that them making the move is a big deal, but like they don't have the credibility to say, okay, well, they made that move. We'll it's all right. We'll recoup that some way. They're gonna bring in a solid player, or like, are they doing it just for the sake of cleaning house? Like, is it more power struggle stuff? Is it more politics of the game? All of that stuff is just real frustrating, man, as a fan. Like, and we're hoping that like because there's talent around that, like the players, can overcome some of this. And maybe Joe Dumars could come in and do something and inspire a little bit of hope. And I'm more of a positive Pelican, fan support and stuff like that. But by nature, I'm also pessimistic. Like, it's taking everything to be positive about this team, because the fresh start does give you a little bit of energy. But man, it just got a track record so long of letting you down to where you really can't put no faith in them, you know? And even if you do put faith in them and you believe in them and say, hey man, like, we showing some promise, we showing some progress. The problem is when you do start showing progress, there's another step after that. Like, example, let's take Minnesota, right? Minnesota drafted Ant. When Ant got drafted there, they had Patrick Beverly there. They had D'Angelo Russell there, and you still had Carl Anthony Towns there. And they were kind of seeing what happened with the team, like how it was looking and stuff like that. And then when it looked like Ant was the real deal and like kind of taking over the team, they were like, "Oh, we need to improve." And then you go get Mike Conley, right? And then they was like, man, we really might need to make a move and give ourselves a chance. Like Naj Reed starts coming along, Jade McDaniel starts coming along. And like you see yourself as like, because before Minnesota made the leap to the one seed and stuff like that, like those dudes were losing in the first round. They were a playing team. And then they go make the trade for Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? They essentially mortgage the future, but they mortgage the future and they have two Western Conference Finals runs. So regardless of whatever happened after and how they have to navigate, how they have to navigate moving forward after that, like they saw something and instead of being afraid or cheap, you know what I mean? It was like, no, we're gonna go all in. We're gonna mortgage the picks, we're gonna mortgage some players. And like, even in the midst of having to recoup, I know it's the benefit of having your star be healthy. And that's the key to everything to a degree. But man, I think we've seen multiple times where the Pelicans have felt like they were on the cusp of something, and even the Hornets for that fact. You know what I mean? Like, you be on the cusp of being a really good, consistent team, and we just do what we do. You know what I mean? Like, we reroute some way. Like, again, for example, I'm not sure if Monty, when he was here with Anthony Davis and everything, and those guys made the first round of the playoffs and they lose to Golden State or whatever, and then after that season, Monty is fired. They bring in Elvin Gentry. Now, Elvin Gentry came in off of that Warriors team, that had won the championship or whatever. But it's kind of like, did y'all really need to do that? Like, did you really? I know you probably felt like it was an upgrade, but like Monty in those couple seasons while AD had been dealing with injury and you hadn't really figured your roster out too much, they were steady progressing. You got to the playoffs, and then you bring in Gentry, and it took Gentry a while to kind of get things going. It's not like he came in rolling. You know what I mean? Again, you dealing with injuries and stuff like that, obviously, but it's like when they finally figure out something, you know, or they get a good rhythm going, they find ways to disrupt it some kind of way, you know? Like even the energy that they had, when Boogie was here. Like a lot of people not don't like the Dell Demps era, and not saying that Dell Demps was great at all, but man, he was really aggressive and going to get Boogie Cousins, and you know that's some of the most hopeful times that we've had recently as a Pelicans fan. And if you think about it, bro, that's going on a decade ago. A decade ago. Uh, so I don't know. Just it's kind of like a little short vent session, man. You know, not sure what these guys are gonna do this season, and I'm gonna try my best to remain optimistic. But just was sitting out thinking you be having the news coming out, people attacking your team, and you're trying to put your faith in them, but I don't know. Are we sure they deserve our trust? Mm, I say no. Now again, you don't want them to always move to the beat of the fandom necessarily, because fans be torn, and then sometimes also with fans we can have selective selective memory, and we don't always know what's going on behind the scenes that really make a difference in some of the things that's happening. But again, man, everybody just want to win. People just want to compete. Like, did it take you that? Why did it take you that long to get rid of Dennis Allen? You didn't know that Dennis Allen was a problem? Like, everybody knows that Willie Green is the issue. Like, even if Willie Green has had some kind of success, like everybody knows. Like, what's taking this long? Politics, right? In this city, specifically in the politics, all the way down to every walk of life, not just the sports, man. It is always a little bit of who knows who, and you know, stuff like that. So I'm just today I'm a little venting a little bit of my frustration. Not as much as I could or would, because more than anything, I'm feeling a little more optimistic, um, and hoping that somebody like Joe Dumars, who's been successful pretty much everywhere he's went, even if people want to kind of critique Joe in the Detroit era, man, those dudes had a really, when Joe was running the show, they had a really good run. Like, if you told me we were gonna get to 6 straight Western Conference Finals, shit, we just need to make the playoffs 6 times in a row, man, you'll take that here. So, Joe gives me some optimism. I like the straightforwardness. Um, and man, it's year one, and just not knowing what the plan is or how they're gonna operate. They just let Lester Quinones go today. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? It's like, who cares? But when things move slow, and then the months seem long, it's just not really reason to be optimistic. But we're gonna try, right? That's what you do as fans. You get excited, you get behind the team, but also, you critique them when they don't do well. And in this particular case, like I say, I always come to this show from a fan's perspective. I'm just looking at a lot of stuff going on, and for whatever reason, today just feels like what are we doing kind of day. You know what I mean? What are the Pels doing? Like, why haven't there been an introductory press conference for Poole and for Jordan Poole and Kayvon Looney and Sadiq Bey? I mean, maybe you're thinking about expanding it, but is there a reason to why that you know what I mean that hasn't happened? Mm. Is there a reason to why Antonio Reeves was let go? I don't know. Right? That's all stuff we be wanting to know. And again, you have to wait and see how it plays out, and things may become more clear. But if anything, like, you're looking for stuff to be excited about. And as of right now, you know, we're kind of at a standstill with excitement. 0-5 in the summer league don't sit, you know what I mean? Like, even though those games don't matter, it just don't sit well. It just don't feel good. Like, you don't have nothing to be, you have to, like, yes, our rookies didn't play terrible, but you have to like drag the excitement out of it. Like, oh, okay, we got to really put out, like, you know what I mean? Pro Pel, they got to put out film reviews to be like, look, Jeremiah Fizz actually was playing well. You know, Derek Queen actually didn't look god awful. You know, but I don't know. Again, that's the life of the Pels fan, man. I'm not gonna drag this out too long, but I just want to say, man, I look, y'all stay tough, y'all stay strong. You know, we all in this thing together. Whichever side we on, you know, whether you on that Saints side or the Pels side, you know, hopefully they can figure it out. We'd be more optimistic. Till then, I catch y'all tomorrow, man. You know, me and Chris kind of got the episode coming out. This one might seem a little low energy, and you know what I mean, stuff like that. But I don't know. Sometimes you got to speak on this frustration and just uncertainty. Like, whoever wants to be uncertain with anything. I don't know. Like, share, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. It's your boy Davis. I'm out. Peace.